My name is Tasha White, and this is Franklin Boulevard Media. So I was born March 7th, 1975 at Gastonia Memorial Hospital. I grew up in various places in Gastonia. I have lived on the Victory. I have lived in Myrtle. I have lived in Hoffman Homes. I have lived in Highland Hills area. So I've lived pretty much all over Gastonia. Went to school at Peden Elementary, which is in Myrtle, well, was in Myrtle School. It's now Webb Street, yep. Then I went to Arlington, left Arlington when I was in the 5th grade, and my mom and I moved to Georgia. I lived in Georgia about 2 years. I came back in the 7th grade, and I attended Highland Junior High School, and I went to Hunter Huss. I graduated from Hunter Huss in 1993. I attended North Carolina State University on a full scholarship for 2 years. I had an opportunity to really be blessed. When I was 2 years old, my mom worked for Vista Volunteers, which was through Community Action. So I got to start school when I was 2. And so most of my upbringing kind of has that educational piece to it. I've always kind of fallen in love with teachers. My first teacher that I remember is Miss Woolfolk. Miss Woolfolk was a kindergarten teacher, a pre-K teacher, and she just made such a positive impact. Then in 2nd grade, Miss Neely, Miss Curry, she was Miss Curry then, and she got married, and she made a positive impact. She made me fall in love with books, and so I was the nerd. So I grew up in Gastonia just like reading books, and my mom took me to the little theater to see Annie. I mean, we just had, my mom just really pushed education, and so I got exposed to a lot of things at an early age, and so my interaction all around the community has just been such a loving interaction with education. My favorite teacher at Highland, Miss Laurie. My favorite teacher at Hunter Huss was Mr. Smith. Like, I've had good influences when it has come to education, so it's kind of pushed me. I can remember the reason I went to North Carolina State. The guidance counselor at Hunter Huss, I never filled out an application for college. The guidance counselor at Hunter Huss is like, Tasha, you're going to go to North Carolina State. And I was like, well, okay, thank you, Mr. Smith. And so I went to Mr. Brown. I went to North Carolina State. I mean, I just think that my experience is probably maybe not familiar to many, but I have just always had such a culturally enriched life here in Gastonia. So if there's any negative connotations that people put about Gastonia, I can't see them. I can't feel them. I know that just like every community, we go through our issues. I know that, we need jobs, we need, access to opportunities, but it is a great community. At State, I was supposed to be an industrial engineer. That was funny. So that did not work out. I came home in 95, and actually I came home because I got pregnant. Had a baby. My daughter is now 27, and she graduated from Winston-Salem State back in 18. So that's come full circle. But when I came home in 95, I thought I wanted to be an industrial engineer. I thought hey, I love processes. I love how things work. And so I thought it was more in that arena of engineering, but I was able to, like I said, get a job. I needed a job. I was a single mom. I was young, and I had worked at McDonald's and kind of done that, and that wasn't enough. And so I met this guy, and he gave me a job at his family care home, and I started out in administration. I'm really good with paperwork, and got the administration going, and I fell in love with serving, with services. And IDD led to mental health, and mental health led to community, right? And we all need help. And we've got to figure out the best way that we live our lives. We've all experienced times where we gotta change course. And so I think changing course, which is life, causes us some discomfort, right? And so when we're discomforted, many of us can do things that when we're feeling desperate, we made bad choices. And so when I learned that there are ways to do things differently and coping skills and life skills and all that kind of stuff, it just excited me, and I wanted to share it with my community. And so that began the community advocacy. So about 2012, I started a for-profit business that was outpatient therapy. I wanted to provide outpatient therapy to community members who look like me. I'm not a therapist, but I know how to work with clinicians and community. And so when I started that, what that allowed us to see is that because of when you're providing services to a person, you can't really help them in a wraparound way because it can look like coercion, right? If I pay your light bill, you only let me serve you with services because I'm paying your light bill. Even though I might need you, you might need me to pay that light bill, as a clinician or practitioner, I can't. So because of that line, we knew that there were additional needs out here. We founded the nonprofit. We were able to do more for people, and it wasn't going to be any type of issue of coercion. We were going to be able to serve you in every capacity, and it doesn't matter who provides your mental health services. We're going to be able to serve you. And so that nonprofit was initially for youth, but if you work with kids, you got to work with families. And so that started the family services. And my goal as a community advocate is just to give people information, just to share what I know. I think that the biggest issue that we face here in Gastonia is lack of information, lack of access to information. We have some wonderful community organizations here. Nobody knows about them. We have wonderful programs here. Nobody knows about them. So my goal in my job every day I get up, God, you bless me with these eyes to see and these ears to hear and this mouth to talk. Let me share. Let me learn. Let me be. And so I just want to be a good influence, So in 2019, we started Ebony Fest Juneteenth Festival, and it was really to promote Juneteenth. So July 4th, 1776, the United States became free. Not me, not you, not our ancestors. And so 100 years later, right, somebody finally makes it to Galveston, Texas to tell people that they were free. They actually were free June 1st, 1863. But did not find out until 1865. And so it is important that all over the United States, all over the world really, that we honor this. My ancestors, I found out recently when I did an African ancestry DNA, I found out that I'm from the Tikar people. And what I learned was that there weren't many Tikar men that made it to America because they refused to be slaves and they jumped off the ship. And it makes me emotional. So my ancestor here was more than likely a Tikar woman, right? Because the men wouldn't do it. They couldn't do it. They couldn't make it. So I'm honored by that. That gives me a pride. That gives me a sense of self. But before that, I don't know where I'm from, right? And so I think it's important that we honor Juneteenth, that we honor ourselves and we honor our ancestors, and we really learn who we are so that we can see the value in all of ourselves, and so Juneteenth is very important to me. And when I'm talking to city and county, they're like, well, it's on a Sunday. Yeah, well, when 4th of July falls on a Sunday, right? What we do, we do fireworks. And so what if it's on a Wednesday? Same premise, right? Whatever day it falls on, that's the day that we should celebrate. And so this year, June 19th, it's also Father's Day, but we're having our 4th annual Juneteenth Festival. We will be at the Rotary Centennial Pavilion. We will have informational vendors. We will have sales vendors. We'll have food trucks. We're having a parade this year. Our mayor is the grand marshal of our parade, and we're also doing fireworks. So we're going to celebrate our independence. So my short-term goals are to be a builder and a developer. I think I want to build houses next. And so I'd love to create communities. I'd love to be able to see this legacy grow. What I want to see for my community is more people that look like me in positions of power and authority. More people that look like me in positions of leadership. More people that look like me in positions of leading organizations. And not to say that hasn't happened in the past. We've had some phenomenal leaders, Walker Reed, Deborah Ali, Mr. Ferguson. Like, we've had some phenomenal leaders. And so I think it's just time to get back to that. What I would challenge my counterparts is, like, I'm almost 50. But it just seems to me like things are just getting started. And so I want us to do more. I want to see my counterparts, in these positions. Every organization around here is hiring. Everybody needs something. And we have an awesome opportunity to fill those holes, to bridge those gaps. And I'm excited. Like, there's nothing that we can't do. My community is on the verge of greatness. We are in the 85, 74, 321 corridor. There's nothing that we couldn't do or sell or be in that area. And so I'm excited. And I really hope that we don't lose the momentum. And there's all these transplants coming in from everywhere. I really believe that we can do anything together. When I'm talking about building and development, I'm not just talking about me. One of the things that we've been talking about is a community trust, like a tribal land trust. We could do that in our community. We could make it so that it generates revenue. We could rent it out to the county. Like, it's so many opportunities here, and I just really hope that our counterparts, our 40 and 50 and 35s, and, I hope that we really see the opportunity here and that we get on board and that we provide influence, so I'm excited. I'm very excited. I think that the opportunities really are endless. And one of my favorite African proverbs is, when spider webs unite, they can tie up a lion. And I believe we can do it. So I got some good advice. I think this is really good advice for anybody. If you don't like your situation, move. You are not a tree. So anybody, that goes for all of us. We don't like what we're doing. We don't like what we are. You don't have to be there. You don't have to stay there. And I promise you it can be different. We just have to know that it's an opportunity out there. Like, open the door. Take that first step. It's possible. Everything is possible. But you got to believe it.